limited amount of resources to open a push cart to do what needs to be done in order to be part of the American dream. And I mean, as Haggerty just said, the smells, the colors of the fruits and the vegetables and everything else that was up here was unbelievable. You know, I think the kids being denied a certain part of that culture that they would have seen had they grown up in this environment the way it was back then. Everything, economic opportunity to see how you can be an entrepreneur and everything else. I think that would have motivated you if you were able to see these things, but these things are not visible and they're not in our community today. I think that's what possibly helped the Jewish and the Irish communities when they saw this. Oh, I could put together this for a few dollars, open up a push cart. I remember as a kid, I grew up in East Harlem. I worked on a horse-drawn carriage selling fruits. You know, that was part of that, you know, that's how kids got jobs. Also in high school, I worked on a milk truck. You delivered milk at night, and you made a few dollars, came home, take a bath, and went to school. But there were opportunities, and these opportunities are being denied these children today. They have no alternatives. None is being given to them by the society in which we live in, the prison, and the leadership that we have in our city. They're begging for jobs in sometimes.
This whole idea of what entrepreneurship could look like if taking these, you know, these other models. I remember going to meet with this guy who, you've seen the markets at Grand Central Terminal around in the Union Square around the holidays. And I went to meet with him and said, like, so what, like, how do you do this? What's the magic? And he looked at me like, what the heck is your problem? He goes, it's the most ancient activity, throwing down a blanket on the street and starting to sell stuff. You're like, oh, you know, we get caught up in regulations and like we have to kind of be sort of enabled somehow, but there's actually, it's an interesting idea. What would it take to revive that kind of...
What bothers me though, when the early immigrants came here, these regulations were not here. They're now imposed on folks who really need this as a startup. Because there's no, the banks don't give you money, there is redline. You know, and that's the difficulty. And if this was existing, these children will see something that they can emulate. And they can start up, they can throw a blanket down, as what you was just mentioned. Huh?
It's legal now.
No, it's according to what you're selling. Right. It's legal if you're selling books. If you're selling religious articles. There's certain things which are legal, other things are not. What you're doing, what you're standing now, some of you, is what the slavers helped to impose in our community, closing down the area of the street. So the push cart will be here, and this is the sidewalk.
Oh, so they narrowed the street.
This is the new part of the sidewalk.
Yeah, interesting. But,
and you talk about folks walking through here, it was unbelievable. This was a life of its own. I mean, even if you didn't buy nothing, you came to be part of that parade that walked through Belmont Avenue. I mean, it was unbelievable back then.
Well, onward. We're going to go to the corner of Mother Gaston, then go up to 15th Avenue.
And slaving is about $5 to $7 million in debt, so they filed bankruptcy.